Hey everybody, welcome back to another vlog. We're getting on another cruise today. It is Embarkation Day here in Jacksonville, Florida, checking out the oldest ship in Carnival's fleet, the Carnival Elation. Super excited to hop on board. It's gonna be a very different cruise than my last one on Star of the Seas. Very different ship from a completely different era. And we're gonna go check out Celebration Key, which is Carnival's newest destination down in the Bahamas. Really interested to check that out. A lot of stuff. It's going to be a fun Bahamas cruise, so let's get going. I stayed the night before the cruise at the Hyatt Regency Jacksonville, which was an excellent stay. You can check out a full tour of that property on the channel. And the port was about a 20-minute drive from downtown Jacksonville. It kind of feels like it's in the middle of nowhere, funny enough. It's a big river running through Jacksonville, and we had to navigate that to get out to sea. Check-in was pretty quick. They didn't really care too much about the arrival time. I was very, very early, so very nice to see that. Just kind of a temporary building, it feels like, for boarding purposes, but did the trick. Then you had about 3 or 4 ramps to get up to the Ecstasy, which is not a very tall ship. There's just no elevator, which was kind of funny. So a very different boarding experience here than my typical cruises out of Miami or Port Canaveral. All right, so we are through security. We're walking up a whole bunch of ramps to get up to the Carnival Elation. Just know that if you're traveling in a wheelchair or you need some extra help up the ramp, they do have employees helping folks make the turns, and there's employees standing, just making sure everyone is having a good time heading up the ramps. Pretty long gangway, pretty old style gangway, I would say, heading on to the beautiful Carnival Elation. So it's gonna be a very different type of cruise. I mean, compared to my Star of the Seas cruise, I had to make a duck under the ship's entryway here, and then made it into the surprisingly beautiful atrium. Now, my stateroom wasn't ready. First things first, I did have to have a guy's burger, one of my favorite things on board any Carnival ship. Alrighty, so we are all here on board. We're done our muster station drill. We had a first of probably many guys' burgers, and we're just waiting to leave port here at about 3:30 or so. Pretty excited for the sailaway. It's fun to depart on a river here. I think this is the St. John's River. I'll correct myself later in editing if I'm wrong about that. But yeah, really pretty sailaway here. You have a national preserve that you kind of sail through, naval base, and then you're on the open ocean, head over to the Bahamas for a nice little short 4-night cruise. Yeah, really excited about this one. Excited to check out Celebration Key, since that opened a few months ago. So yeah, I'm really excited. It's a little weird, this itinerary, because we are arriving at like 2 p.m. We stay until 8, so it's not like a full day there in port. So a little interesting. I have another cruise lined up for later in the year, so if I don't get to do everything I want to do, we'll get to do that on the next one. And then in Nassau, gonna play some golf. Gonna go check out some favorite things to do if I have a little bit of time after that. So yeah, should be a great cruise here out of Jacksonville. Really nice to not be sweating so much like I do in Miami and in Orlando. It seems that the weather at least is on my side, at least here in Jacksonville. So we'll see about later in the cruise. So let's enjoy the rest of the embarkation day, explore the ship a little bit, see what else we can do, get checked into the cabin, and have a great time. Ample parking here, all uncovered right at the port. So very popular driving in port for Northern Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina. A lot of North Carolina here on board as well. Want to do a spa tour? You can check out the full spa on my ship tour. That'll be posted to the channel shortly. But a very impressive fitness center for such a small ship. I was very surprised to see that. One tip if you're interested in the spa is to enter the spa raffle. They usually do it shortly before sail away each cruise. I've never won with all my cruises, unfortunately. Then I wanted to go check out the kid areas. I wanted to do a full comprehensive ship tour, as I always do. It's always interesting to show this off to clients with young kids as well. I get those questions a lot. By the way, if you're interested in sailing on the Carnival Elation or any Carnival cruise, any brand really, across the board, please reach out to jacksonjetsetting.com/book for a free quote. But for one of the smallest ships in Carnival's fleet, I thought that the kids areas were in a very prime spot on board. Lots of natural light. See that a lot on many ships, not just Carnival, that the kids' rooms typically don't have a lot of natural light. They're kind of in the bowel of the ship, so it's nice to see. But yeah, overall, just checking out the overall vibe of the ship. Carnival ships can sometimes be a little wild, and the Elation I felt like was a little bit more subdued than a lot of the other Carnival ships that I have sailed on in the past. So that was kind of a welcome change. I feel like sometimes it's kind of funny for the first day, but then it does get kind of old quickly. By the time I was done with this tour, though, it was time to check into my room 0156. Okay, we're all checked in here to room U156 on the upper deck, deck 6. Here on the Carnival Elation, as you walk in to the left, you got your safe and pool towels, as well as some more drawers. Then you have 2 closet spaces here, one for shirts, and then a nice space for a larger suitcase. And then here for your dresses, suits, that sort of thing. There's a lot of storage space here. Then your bathroom's gonna be right here. Bathroom as we walk in. Small sink, little toilet. Place to hang towels or clothes. And then inside the shower, pretty large shower actually. Little clothes drying wire there too. Shower gel and shampoo provided. Then into the main bedroom. So we have a lovely little desk here, waters, some pamphlets and info. 2 twins pushed together to make a king. Good space over here for luggage as well. There's a lot of space in this room actually. Nice little surfboards above the bed. Won't be doing any surfing. This is a connecting cabin, so you could connect a second cabin if you're traveling with someone else. Large television actually. A lot larger than I would expect. And then I did book an ocean view this cruise, so nice large window here. Right now we just checked in, so we're still here in Jacksonville. So yeah, overall, very nice little room here. Then next to the bed, let's check out the plugs. Okay, so we do have USBs in the headboard. Not really a great space to store those phones that you might be charging, and it's USB-A phone over here. So overall, pretty much the only plugs in the room are going to be here, as well as some more USBs over here to the right. And I did want to mention that there is a small mini fridge beneath the desk, so good to store any items you want to keep cool. And like any cruise, there's tons of paperwork waiting for you in the room, so they do have some Celebration Key information, and then something I've only seen on Royal Caribbean ships, which is a full entertainment schedule, which is great. So all aboard was about 3:30 p.m. and we set sail shortly after 4 p.m. So love watching the initial sailaway. Try and do this on every voyage if I'm not too busy on embarkation day. The last cruise I was on, we left at 10 p.m., so I did not watch this, but it's always fun just to see how the whole operations work. The Carnival Elation, fun fact, was the first cruise ship with Azipod propellers, so this was a technological innovation, a big leap forward for cruise ships. Now every cruise ship basically has them. It just allows the propellers to turn in 360 degrees and just makes the ship more agile and more mobile. So very cool that this is the first one. Built in 1998, so it's been around for a while. Not the oldest ship I've sailed on in the last year though, but definitely a nice favorite, I think, for this area of the country. It's nice that Jacksonville has a few cruise ships actually sailing out of her port right now, but the Carnival Elation has been here for a little bit. I love the maneuverability of this ship though. It's so tiny, so we were able to make a turn very, very close to the pier here in Jacksonville as we departed. I loved watching this. It was a pretty fun view. So not the biggest ships can really come here because there's the river, which I'm sure has some limitations, but the main thing is the bridge that we're gonna sail under here. So the sailaway party is going. Always a fun time at Carnival.
Right foot now. Left foot now, y'all. Cha-cha real smooth.
And we're gonna be ditching this mucky water from the St. Johns River pretty soon here, as soon as we get out to open ocean. Did you spot Cat in the Hat in the sailaway? They often do that on Carnival, which is kind of fun. Noticed a lot of Coast Guard following us out. We did depart on 9/11. I don't know if that was maybe the reason, or if just we have a naval base pretty close by, and they were just doing some practice runs for us, making sure that we don't hit the bridge. probably the biggest reason, honestly. But very cool span across the St. John River. It reminded me a lot of sailing away from Tampa, though we did that much later in the evening. I feel like we didn't make it out of there until way after dark. So it was fun to see this in the daylight, hear all the traffic up ahead, and up here on the highest point in the ship that I could get. It seemed like we had about 15 feet of clearance coming under the bridge. So very cool to experience. So definitely recommend coming up top as high as possible on your Carnival Elation voyage if you're sailing out of Jacksonville to experience this very unique sail away. So next up, I did want to go check out that aforementioned spa raffle. Like I said, I did not win, unfortunately, but good for the winners. I don't think I'm ever going to win one of these things. I've been on 40 cruises now and have never won a single item at the spa raffle. Would love to win one day. Would love to rig it, honestly. Really beautiful houses coming as we get closer to the ocean. Just a really beautiful beach. We had lots of helicopters flying overhead. Just really a pretty sail away from Jacksonville. So I really loved this one. There's a lot to see. It took you about maybe 45 minutes to an hour to actually make it out of the river and into the open ocean. So a fun thing to do before dinner. So I decided I was going to do pretty much the main dining room this trip or the buffet, because there are no specialty restaurants on board Carnival Elation. There's ways to pay for a little bit better food in places that I'll mention throughout my video series here. Wanted to get my gold pin as well. These are going away next year, so you definitely want to take advantage of that. And then we did have a nice remembrance on 9/11. It was technically Heroes Day on board, and Carnival always does this great for all the veterans, as well as the people that we want to remember on a special day like 9/11. So awesome that they did that. I got to chat during dinner, so I didn't film my normal short rib. You'll have to watch the old Carnival vlogs on my channel to see some shots of that, but it was delicious as always. Some info for my water slide excursion later in the day, and then it was time for the production show, or at least the welcome aboard show, which is exactly the same as all the other ones that I've ever seen on a Carnival ship. I really wish they would mix this up. It's always the same exact songs. I think they could do a little bit better job here mixing things up, but a really nice rock band here to close out the evening. See you on the next vid.